Hey everyone, Sunyveil here. I'm going to be taking a look at AlcideBava's top 64 matches from this past ECQ that happened yesterday. They dropped it in the Piloting Club, part of the Friends of Eternal Discord. If you would like to have me review your gameplay, I am usually happy to do so. Just drop it in there. Alright, so before we get started, I should pull up the deck lists. Oh shoot, I'm not sure if I have a deck list for this. Ugh. Sorry for wasting people's time. Okay, so this is some sort of my guess is it's a backbreaker deck. Anyway, we'll see what we can do. So this hand is obviously worth shipping. So we're gonna redraw. Let's take a look at this hand. Yeah, I mean, I guess you keep this rather than go down to 6. It is functional, although it's not fantastic. I don't know what Spifferific is on, so I don't really have deck lists for these. They might be on Eternal Warcry, but we're just we're going to kind of do a medium effort here today. So what power do you play? That's not what I meant to do. You'd get the Shadow Influence in order to kill this. That makes sense. They've led off with a Combre. Yeah, seat, Combre seat. Yeah, that makes sense. So you always want to play your seats before your Silexes. Makes sense. If this, I don't know if this list is playing Roland, but if it is, I might consider playing the Argenport Silex instead of the Xenon Silex there. You've also got Backbreaker, so like the Justice Influence is important. I mean, some lists are playing Diana too, and you need to get up to Quad Justice for that. All right, this thing, I would just go ahead and Desert Marshal this. Let's see. Well, the thing is that you can get a treasure trove with this, which this hand probably wants if you go for the Argenport Silex first. So, it might be worth, like, early in the game, activating Honored Skyguard isn't that important, so it might be worth just playing the Argenport Silex here, playing From Beyond and passing the turn, and the next turn play Xenon Silex and draw a card, and you have Desert Marshal up if you need it, and then lead that into a Harsh Rule on the next turn. Oh, sorry. You'd have to play the seat first, but like setting up for a turn 5 Harsh Rule. You just take the Huntress here, I believe. Mother of Skies? Oh, to go with Nesting Raven? I feel like you'd probably just take the Huntress to give them less agency over what they do with their hand. Because, like, if they just play a bunch of stuff, you have a Harsh Rule in hand that you know you can play on turn 5, which is only a couple turns away. So, I think I would just try a set for the Harsh Rule there. Alright, definitely Harsh Rule here. Easy. There's the Huntress. Here's why I wanted to get rid of the Huntress, just to give them a little less agency over their draws. The way this is looking, I think you can just go ahead and slam Maeve. There's probably like turn to seed on the other side of the board, but if their turn is turn to seed, that's not a huge deal. Like, yeah, you might as well set that up. Because if they don't have it, they're just going to get buried. Like, it's not like the Huntress is that much of an issue. Dealing with the Flyer is probably a little scarier. Given that that's what happened last turn, I think I like developing Maeve in a situation like this. Because if they don't have an answer, the game's pretty much just going to be over. They're just going to get buried in card advantage. So here, I mean, what's the plan? Yeah, well, I think you can Treasure Trove once before petitioning there. Like, you know what you're petitioning for. There's no question about it. You're just going to get an Argenport Silex or whatever, right? Kind of here. Because I don't know. I guess if you draw something that costs 5, exactly 5, that you want to play, then you might want to play it. But I guess there isn't anything that could be here. So petitioning first is fine. But I think that, like, yeah, like, you can figure out exactly what you're going to do with this hand. You're going to pay 2 power for the petition. You're going to pay 2 power for the treasure. You have a total of 8 power after the petition. You're going to pay 2 for the petition, 2 for the treasure trove, and then, probably just 2 for 2 more treasure troves. So you might as well draw first, is basically what I'm saying. You could probably go treasure trove, petition, treasure trove, and then still have 2 up. Because I don't think it's going to change. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. You're petitioning for. Well, okay, wait. Here's something that could happen. If there's a 4-drop that you care about, you could go treasure trove. You'll still have 3 power to petition for an Argentport Silex there if you want. But in the case that you draw a Roland or something, if you draw a Roland undepleted power, then that might work out in your favor. You can play it on this turn. It's a small sequencing thing, but like occasionally you'll just draw the perfect thing, and it's worth knowing how to sequence your plays. I guess there was also some sort of line with Enter the Monastery. Yeah, I would just Desert Alchemist that Justice Sigil here. You get to draw an extra card. Like, you just want to make sure you have enough removal for your opponent's stuff at this point. It's not like they're playing any sweepers or any good way of getting back. I think we're beyond the point of the game where analyzing the plays is that important. Just like keep on drawing cards. Because it seems basically impossible for them to win. You just play a unit on your turn. You play a unit on their turn. Here, you probably want to just attack with Backbreaker. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, that was pretty academic at that point. Let's keep going. This hand's not keepable. My experiences with Wasteland Broker over the weekend were so abhorrently bad. I think this hand's fine. It's not amazing, but you can keep it. Yeah, seat first. Makes sense. Entrancer, that's going to sense. Desert Marshal. Yeah, just play the Justice Sigil, because that way Silex is always going to be undepleted. Yeah, especially seeing a second Sea Serpent, there's no reason to kill the first 3/3. Whoa, hold on. I think you set up for the turn 4 Roland here, right? Unless you're like really intent on going for a turn 5 Roland. And you just suffocate the 3/3 here, play the seat. I mean, turn 5 Roland does make some sense. It means that you get to make a 1/1 flyer immediately, and that is worth something. They only have 4 answers to Roland, though. I assume it's 4 turn to seed anyway. I guess this lets you play the power undepleted on the next turn, but it's like, if your plan is to play Roland, you could have done that while sequencing the Suffocate ahead of time anyway. And if your plan was to do something else, I guess it doesn't matter. I think that being too greedy with Roland is, like, there's definitely some level of greed that you want with Roland, but it's easy to get too greedy with it also. Oh, here getting massively punished by the skies. Still get to kill a few things with Suffocates, and that Roland's going to pull a lot of weight. So I think the plan here is just to, like, yeah, you can petition if you want. I think that's fine. Probably just get an Argentport Silex. The first thing I would do is From Beyond, because that will inform your decisions. Like, if there's some really high value target that you need to hold one of your Suffocates for some reason. I guess there aren't that many things that can change, but yeah, all right, here we go. All right, I would probably just fire off both of these Suffocates. Yeah. It also makes Roland bigger. I would just play the Desert Marshal and start attacking. Like, that Desert Marsher doesn't have ambush. Right? It got silenced earlier. Am I crazy? And just play the backbreaker. Yeah. 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 Okay. And this game looks pretty over. Just a bunch of 1/1 deadly flyers. That's going to give this Flyers deck a lot of trouble. I suppose they could draw a Crystallize, which would be pretty good. They need to have the board back it up. But I don't have the deck list. I don't know if that's a sure thing. All right. Oh, all right into the next game. Here we go. Okay, let's see. Turn back time. Yeah, I mean, this hand's keepable. It's not insane, but it does some stuff. Just lead off with the seat. All right. Justice Sigil means that other stuff comes into play undepleted. I would consider turning the turn back time into a power here. I think you just petition on this turn unless you're in some matchup where you really need to attack or defend on this turn. But petition for another Argenport Silex seems like a good that seems like a good time to do this, because I like holding off on my plunder decisions until later if I can. Plus, you could potentially go turn back time for petition, which isn't insane here, but like, it's something. I guess Xenon Silex gets you the power for Diana. I think I would just get an Argenport Silex here. Why is the Seat of Progress? So if it was an Argenport Silex, this next turn they'd be able to get a treasure trove. All right, unit, backbreaker, unit in front of backbreaker. That's the whole game plan. What are they afraid of? Defiance? I think Defiance is a pretty good reason to not attack with Desert Marshal. Like, if that's something that you know that your opponent has, like, it might just not be worth. It might be worth just not attacking there, because, like, your opponent isn't playing a deck with sweepers, right? They don't have dedicated relic removal. Dealing with the backbreaker, the only way they can do that is if your units are gone and they have some cards that only work when you're attacking. So I think it's like worth not attacking in some situations there. Of course, you'd have to see the deck list to know for sure, but it's worth considering. All right, pretty straightforward. All right, here we go. Yeah, this hand's capable. Again, not insane, but you have your third power undepleted, and you have all your influence. This deck's influence was definitely an issue. I played a deck that was pretty similar, but it could be tricky, to say the least. Temple Scribe. Oh, so the opponent is playing 3 faction. They just missed a faction in the last game. Temple Scribe, though, huh? All right. Yeah, okay, so, well, it's not a given that we have to play Silex here if you wanted to play the ambush card, but that's probably bad. Okay, so yeah, let's From Beyond, see what's up. Okay, just desserts. Wasteland Broker. If they attack with that, I think you just eat it. Ooh, this is an interesting one. I think you play the Seat, because you've got something to block the Wasteland Broker, even if they kill your Desert Alchemist with just desserts. I think your plan is to try to set up for backbreaker on 5. Like that, in this matchup, I think that's what the game plan is. Plus, you get a Silex, and that's a pretty big deal. Even if they go backbreaker on the next turn, you're still okay because you get to backbreaker straight into their backbreaker. So I think, yeah, here we go. The plunder decision with Desert Alchemist is interesting. From Beyond, well, don't get to make a decision. Okay, fine. Do that. You know that they have a Just Desserts, so you want to keep this Desert Marshal out of combat, so just attack and pass the turn. Attacking is possibly really, really bad because if they Just Desserts and then play Backbreaker on their turn, you lose your Backbreaker, and that's basically the game. Good. Svetya, all right. Yeah, you just have to do it, unfortunately. All right, let's think about this market decision. Given that you only have 5 power, geez, none of these are actually that good. I think it might be Silverblade Menace because it's the only card that you can actually play. Like, if you draw the card before you draw a power and you choose any of the rest of these, it's going to look really embarrassing. Plus, I just don't feel like Svetya is that great in the matchup. Like, what you're worried about is if your opponent plays... yeah, there we go. Is if your opponent plays a relic weapon, you can't deal with it, right? That's the fear. All right, just ace base. Yep. Followed up with the Jade Horn. They still have a Just Desserts, right? Unless they churned it into something. Oh, there's another Svet. Yeah, okay. So I guess that's what they got off of the... off of the Wasteland Broker. Oh, yes. Quick double block. They already used their Just Desserts. Menace does work here. You can't really effectively deal with the Svetya, so I think you plan on just using the Menace. How much damage did that do? 5? Like, if you draw a second one, you can kill them pretty quickly. Yeah. Wait. What? Hold on. How? Okay, I think I get it. But, like, the thing about the Silverblade Menace, even though it will do more damage later in the game, which is nice, it can actually attack and block in, through more things that the Jade Horn can. 7/7 Temple Scribe, jeez. And this could happen also. Alright, so chump block with the 3/3 time. How much does it do? 5? You... can't... Attacking doesn't work either. So your only out is to draw another one, right? Well, if that was the case, you know, I think the line might have been to attack, play the second Silverblade Menace. No. To attack, Shenron Speaks, then play the second Silverblade Menace because it brings you to 11, which isn't great, but your only out is to draw a second Silverblade Menace anyway. But I mean that actually means that you can Shenron Speaks. You go down to you stay at 7, but your opponent's at 2. So if you draw another Silverblade Menace, you win. But it also means that you can Shenron Speaks on the next turn. So now you're forced to double chump. And yeah. So it would have. I mean, I think things act differently if there's. I think things your opponent might play differently if the board looks different. But if you attack Shenron Speak, play a second Silver Blade Menace, chump block the 11/11, then when you get to this turn, you can just Shenron Speaks. Granted, you're probably still dead to Severin. Well, I guess you do have this, right? It's a better situation regardless. Your opponent probably still has Severin and holds on to until they can get a influence with it and just kill you. No, you're at 7. So even if they draw 2, yeah, okay. So I think that actually might have ended up working if you Shenron Speaks attack Shenron Speaks, play the second Menace. All right, let's see. Yeah, this hand's fine. You haven't redrawn yet. Ooh, I might redraw this. It just doesn't do anything. It doesn't have a winning game plan in this matchup unless your winning game plan is attack with 2/2s. So I think I actually ship this. That turn back time is not looking good. I think you plunder it away. That's another option. That makes sense. Man, I think you just take Petition here. Petition's so good. Like, the removal's not fantastic in this matchup. It's not worthless, but man, Petition is just so good in any sort of grindy game. It's the card that you always want in your opener. All right, let's Treasure Trove. I don't think you attack into a 1/1. Whoa, what's going on? Hold on. Why are we doing that instead of just Treasure Troving? Because we're not using our power this turn eventually. We're going to get bottlenecked at some point. Oh my goodness. Okay, and we're not firing it off. That. All right. I think that's just not getting punished here. Opponent missed a power. That's pretty good. I think I think Severin might be better in this matchup. Like, Svetya, they can still kill with a backbreaker. I suppose if they don't have the backbreaker, it could be a pain. But, oh, I see. Trying to get Maeve. That, okay, now it kind of makes sense. I didn't see the influence getting closer to Maeve. I'm going to go back and see that under the idea of going for Maeve and see if I like that. Okay, so pass here. If you're going for Maeve, why are you attacking here? You're still trading a 2/1 deadly for a 1/1. Your opponent has to use... Well, you don't want to get hit by a relic weapon, but they have to use one of their removal spells in order to take down the 2/1. And yeah, you probably just play it on 2 if you've got nothing better to do. Is that right? Times it? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, fine. And that's why I didn't play the Silex in order to draw a card. I think even so, like, you're not playing Maeve in the next turn or so. I think even so, you probably want to play the Silex and just draw a card. Because that From Beyond isn't necessarily making your next turn better. Whereas drawing a card might find you, a better option to do. Like, I think Bava eventually draws... I don't know, yeah, so You have drawn one more card. I guess it wouldn't have ended up mattering, but uh, ugh, I think I like sequencing that a little differently. And if that's the case, why not? Why not just go for it here? Like, do you really want to get one card closer to Svetya by playing your Wasteland Broker? Why not play Maeve? And if they don't answer Maeve, all of a sudden you play Wasteland Broker and the game's like over. Okay, I exaggerate a little, but you get to draw an extra card if you just play Maeve first. So, like, now what? You still hold on to Maeve and don't play her? Just main deck Severin. Play Diana, draw a card. Yeah, just a symbol here. Another Severin, jeez. Alright, I think you can pretty freely block these. Maeve first. Argent Port Silex. Wait, what was that? Seat? Yeah, because of the Jade Horn. I think you still play the Silex, like, just in case you draw another Silex. Like, do you really... The influence doesn't matter, as long as you're gaining one Justice at that point, right? Alright, that's pretty good. That's also pretty good. You get to draw on their turn. Alright, this ended up working out. I mean, a lot of the suggestions that I make are not going to be that big of an impact. I would probably just turn this... Well... I probably would just turn the Sigil into a treasure trove. Like, Sigils are the actual worst cards in your deck when you get to a point where you have enough power. Like, undepleted power is important in the early game, but once you get into the late game, it's just worse than something that provides double influence or a Silex or any other card, I guess. Ooh, opponent attacking with a lot. Yeah, I think losing one of these Jade Horns is a good idea because you get to draw another card with Maeve. I wonder if it was correct to just Shenron Speaks earlier. Sorry, backing up to... Because your opponent has two Severins. Like, that's not a good thing. I guess you have Maeve here. Yeah, I guess you're building up to Diana. Like, they can gain a ton of health. If they can't deal with Diana, yeah, just do this. So then when you have 11 power, yeah, I guess it doesn't make any sense to Shenron Speaks when you've got Diana going off on the next turn, even if your opponent is gaining, you know, a ridiculous amount of influence. So, I mean, they gain, you know, 18 life here, and then Diana's going to hit for, like, 30 or something. Not 30, but 20 plus. Oh, their own Diana. Well, okay. Well, if you draw Svetya, I guess that means you can just play Svetya. But your opponent does also have Harsh Rule, so like, or sorry, Shenron Speaks. So you do have to be a little worried about that. I mean, are you going to die at some point? You also... I mean, the other thing you can do is you can, like, Shenron Speaks into playing something big. This is an interesting turn. I think you probably want to keep your Mave intact. Yeah, so if you play Mave and then Svetya, you get to draw 3 cards, and then you might be able to chain into his second or like fourth Svetya at this point or whatever. So I think I like that more than activating Diana and attacking. Yeah, I think that's a missed sequence there. Like, yeah, you lose out on the +1/+1 for your whole deck, but drawing an extra card has got to be better than that. You're already buffing your deck a reasonable amount to this point. I don't know about this one. Oh, you get to draw 2 cards? Okay, yes, I do know about this one. That's fine. Interesting. I think I'm probably just get Silverblade Menace again there. Because, like, the game is already in a super late phase. Wait, why did they play Desert Marshal to show off the Diana? I think you wait until your opponent's turn to play Desert Marshal because then you get to draw 2 cards. Also, with the opponent not near... Oh, geez, that's a lot of stuff. With the opponent not near 12 power, I think you can just hit one of the Severins. You just block as many things as you can at this point. Take 15. Jeez. You might need that power. I would hit one of the timepieces or something. I don't know. I don't think I hit a power there. I think I just hit one of the timepieces. You already have so many of them. You need to make sure that you hit an undepleted power in order to play, 15 power worth of stuff instead of 14 power worth of stuff. And that actually would have been relevant. Yeah, probably just put it on. Just put on the Svetyas in order to. Oh, if you're worried about Desert Alchemist or something, okay. I guess that's fair. But like, you could run into Just Desserts or Defiance. I don't know if they're playing Defiance. I might just put it on the Svetyas there. We also probably missed Lethal, huh? Well, yeah, I think if there's no pause, there's probably Lethal that you can find here. Of course, Bava's in a pretty excellent spot. I think I would just try to make sure that I'm chaining Svetyas because that means that they can't go too crazy with the Severins. They have to use 2 Shenra Speaks in order to kill stuff. I guess they have to do that anyway. Alright, that's one way of getting lethal. Was that available last turn? I had to get rid of one more unit. Well, actually, hold on. Something you could do here is you could actually play Jade Horn plus Backbreaker, but I don't think that's too important. Anyway. Right, there's one more match, and it's a long one. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to the whole thing, but, we can take a look. Against D. Lopez. All right, redraw. This hand doesn't do anything. All right, hand's fine. It's not amazing, but, you keep it. I think you are planning on not plundering here. Okay, now you can plunder. You need to make sure that you can go 2, 3, 4 with this hand, I think. And that Shenron Speaks isn't looking too great. Yeah, I think you gotta do this. I think you Jade Horn here. You need to get fight for board. Okay, good. Alright, Silex. Draw a card first. Yeah, I get that Shadow. I don't think you're playing Desert Alchemist. So what is D. Lopez on? They're just on some sort of Xenon deck. They're playing... what's it called? Oh, Aramot's pretty good. Alright. Yeah, I'd draw a card first. At any cost, Vara's Choice. Vara's Choice could get you. I think you take that at any cost because it's one of the ways of dealing with your relic weapon. Because, like, that Vara's Choice might not do anything. What you do with this is you take the at any cost, and you play the Desert Marshal on your turn, and you silence the Aramot's Mind Splitter, or whatever it's called. And then if they Vara's Choice you, it doesn't hit anything. I mean, now that you've taken the Vara's Choice, you can do this. But they can still just at any cost your Desert Marshal, or your Desert Alchemist, rather. I guess it's not really worth it. Just let that trade happen and play something else that's big. That's not that big. The Shadow Etchings. I wonder what's in their market. That would be helpful to know as well. Alright, draw a card first. Diana. Yeah, I think at any cost, like, against a deck like this, I feel like the Relic Weapon plan is a pretty big deal. So getting to hit it at any cost, which actually deals with the Relic Weapon, seems pretty good to me. That's okay. Well, I think you just pass the turn, like attack and pass the turn. I don't think you necessarily need to silence this. Aramot's Mind Splitter actually does screw you up, but like in this situation, you could just set up for Shenra Speaks. I guess the plan here is to keep the opponent's life total low, but it's not like you're actually going to be able to beat them on the ground when they have two at any cost. I suppose they only have one now, but you know. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like the attack here, and then backbreaker, finish that off. It is a little awkward because you have to chump block the cell. No, you don't. You can just take it. Burglarize. Oh, that was their plan. Well, that's pretty good. I think you just block here. I can't imagine activating this Jade Horn. I mean, it's just 1 point either way. But I think the chances that you're just activating a Jade Horn after a Nightfall is like pretty low. Alright, so they've got a backbreaker, which is pretty problematic. It's got like 7 health or something too. Grodov's Burden is not good either. Especially if they come back with the Severin. Alright, got a backbreaker or something. Just the bigger thing, makes sense. Ooh, the attack? Yeah, I guess it makes sense. They can just play the backbreaker again. This is definitely scary territory. Devourer is basically draw 2 here. Because you're going to kill something with the backbreaker. They actually aren't necessarily guaranteed getting it back. We're getting to the point of the game where at any cost might actually do the 12 damage. But I guess that's not... We're not in a position where that's actually that detrimental. This is interesting. I think it's either Devour or Petition. Keep them from drawing cards. Oh. Can now play the Wasteland Broker. I don't even know what you get here. Severin, maybe? Just passing? Okay. I guess Bava's trying to hit a time source. Okay, well that's probably the game. It seems basically impossible to deal with the Exalted from Grodov's Burden. That's pretty cool. Burden doing a lot of work in the Scene deck. Yeah, and they've got the 12 damage at any cost. Okay, that seems pretty much over. Yeah, alright, this one's over. I suppose, like, Time Sigil for Harsh Rule is pretty good. I'm not... No, that's still losing position, because your opponent has Grodov's Burden, and all you've got is Diana. I guess the Diana could do something, but they still have an at any cost, so it's not going to work out. Yeah, 31. 31's kind of cool, but it's not enough. I guess with the game plan of Silverblade Menace, you do kind of want to keep your opponent as low as possible, but man, trying to beat down with this deck against a Xenon deck when you don't have a relic weapon is just incredibly difficult. When you have a relic weapon, I think it's realistic. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think I keep this. You've got the Backbreaker, and that seems to be like probably the key card in this deck, or in this matchup. Yeah, just keep on doing that. Probably play Petition on the next turn. It's time symbol Petition. Yeah, Petition. Xenon Silex? Why not just get an Argenport Silex? Do you need triple time for something? Oh, Grodov's Burden. Grodov's Burden, like, it's not very good, and I just don't see it really coming down in this matchup, so I think I'd rather just get the Argenport Silex. Eventually you'll get that last time, and it probably won't be relevant anyway. Okay. Killing the... Whoa. Hold on. Why wouldn't you kill the Wasteland Broker? Because you don't want them to get to... you want to limit their influence? Boy. This is, that's ambitious. I probably would have just drawn a card there instead. That at any cost was pretty good. I mean, it's a good spot for the opponent because they know what you're going to be doing. Okay, play that, draw another card. There's another Backbreaker. Holding on to it. Yeah, going into 8 power, I can see holding on to it. That's pretty unfortunate. Okay, well, here's Backbreaker, kill the Wasteland Broker. Or attempt to kill the Wasteland Broker. Another at any cost really gets you. Oof. I think you attack with the Jade Horn now. You attack with both, yeah, I can do that. I'm surprised the opponent blocked. Oh, okay. But these Backbreakers are small. You can't kill enough. I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, Wasteland Broker makes sense to me. Is Silverblade Menace actually going to be good here? How close are you to playing the Witching Hour? You need 2 more power. I think this is actually a spot where you might get Grodov's Burden, but... Ugh. don't think Roadhouse Britain works that well in this deck. I think punished for playing undepleted, or for playing the Sigil and not the Seat on the last turn. Well, I mean, it depends if you want to get Svetya down this turn or not. Here, you're kind of going more for the late game, getting some more influence. But, I mean, it would have delayed that Ikaria. On the other hand, if there's one deck that can really deal with Svetya, it's some Mono Shadow deck, because they probably have a ton of removal. Alright, so, yeah, this is not looking good. Nita Shenra speaks desperately. Ooh. Ooh, playing the Witching Hour? That seems pretty good. Shrinking all the Pale Riders. That's interesting. Okay, that seems good. I agree with all these plays. I haven't really been commenting too much, but these are I think the right thing to do. At 12 power, certainly don't need to play an extra power. Yeah. Svetya is not bad. Jeez, I think you just flunge. Your opponent's at 16? Yeah, just go for it. They have to block the Roland unless they have some way of killing your units. Alright, last game. Judging by the length of this video, I think this is going to be a long one. Alright, well, we'll see what happens. Hold on. Was that... You're just keeping this? Let's see. I mean, Enter the Monastery is very good. And you've got on turn 3, you go Seat, Silex, Enter the Monastery. I can get behind that. Yep, this is right. Play the Silex, and then you're probably going to play the other Seat after that. Too bad for Diana. Hold on. In this situation, I think I actually might get the Jade Horde down. Like, the chances that the Jade Horde's going to make that much of an impact attacking is not that high, but it's not like you're actually ramping to anything with Enter the Monastery on this turn anyway. You can play Enter the Monastery and Desert Alchemist next turn anyway. Like, if the 3 cards that you're going to play are the Desert Alchemist, the Jade Horn, and Enter the Monastery, you can sequence it so that you play the Jade Horn this turn, and then you can threaten a Warcry rather than doing it on the next turn. And doing both the Desert Alchemist and the Jade Horn. Like, if you play the Jade Horn now, you're going to end up in the same position in 2 turns, except you got the Jade Horn done a turn earlier the other way. I think that From the Beyond should just transform. Yeah, I like this play. If you're in this situation, and then you're good, you turn the Sigil into a treasure trove. Look, the Jade Horn would have just gotten a Warcry off and then died to the Desert Alchemist. I understand that it would not have made a huge difference unless for some reason that Warcry ends up making a big difference. I think you just fire off this Desert Alchemist now. Like, you're definitely... is there a world where you don't use it on the Justice Sigil? I know you run the risk of getting hit by something like Blightmoth, but, like, the Desert Alchemist isn't good in this matchup anyway. Oh, unless you're saving it for From Beyond. That kind... Or, sorry, saving it for Maeve, rather. And I think you just play Maeve on this turn. Like, I know that you don't want to run Maeve into a removal spell, but, you know, Maeve... If they don't have it, you're just tremendously ahead. If they do have it, yeah, it's awful. But, like, what's your plan this turn otherwise? It's not fantastic. I guess you could also run into an Ikaria, but, like, I don't know. The other option is waiting 2 whole turns before playing Maeve and not making a whole ton of relevant plays up until then. I think that giving up the power here and just like giving up possible tempo is a mistake right here. Yeah, for backbreaker. Okay, that makes sense. But like you don't need that extra point. The fact that backbreaker is going to get attacked twice is good enough. It's even going to attack 3 times if they play something like an Icaria here. I don't think you need to try to get even more value off of it. Is that burglarize? See, that burglarize also means it's really different. The impact that burglarize has is really different if you have a board versus if you don't have a board. Because like now you're in a lot of trouble. Now you have to play this Desert Alchemist anyway. Your opponent has a huge relic weapon in hand. You need to pressure it. They don't have any sweepers. Like now you need to play Maeve and then you play Desert Alchemist on your opponent's turn. But if they play yeah, so I think the entire dynamic of the game changes here. Like, you know from the first game that your opponent's going for burglarize, right? Okay, so they do this. Is this the right spot? Okay, they played the Airmots. But your opponent has already gone to the market. You know that they are just getting burglarize. I think you play the first Desert Alchemist, then you play the backbreaker, you kill the Aramot's Mind Splitter. Then here, when you have 2 more power and they play the burglarize, you get rid of that Shenron Speaks. Because you like the sweepers are the worst thing that you can have against relic weapons. So you can turn that into a power safely here. I know you want to hit that 8th power from beyond and then have a unit, but you have that anyway. I guess knowing that they have a backbreaker here means that you can probably afford to go Desert Alchemist on your opponent's turn, but I'd rather already have a Desert Alchemist out. Okay, so this is working pretty well. I think you turn one of the power into a treasure trove here. Blight Moth, okay. Yeah, draw first, draw again. Backbreaker. Yeah, play the backbreaker. You get to draw a card off of it. Well, no, here you lose the Desert Alchemist if you do. So yeah, I think I like this. Draw treasure trove. Do this again. Yep. Yeah, hitting the seed is smart. Hopefully they don't kill Maeve here. If they do, you're pretty sad. Oof. That's pretty sad also. Man. You do have a 7 attack backbreaker. Okay, maybe you just harsh rule Decimate and break their backbreaker because it's so hard to deal with. They've already used their burglarize. I guess they could have another Severin, which would be really problematic, but clearing the way and getting rid of their relic weapons seems like it would be pretty good here. You can even play the relic weapon to draw a card first with Maeve, and then play the Shenron Speaks with Decimate. So we're just going to go after Severin. All right. This is reasonable, too. I mean, you get to draw an extra card. You get to pressure their backbreaker a little. They probably don't have a sweeper for it. I think that's a reasonable play, too, but I think I would rather, with a hand that looks like this, I think I would rather just reset everything, have myself have, like, a 7, whatever, a huge backbreaker, 7-10, I think. Be down a power from the Decimate, but like it's so hard for them to interact with it, especially with the second Shenron Speaks in hand. Granted, I did just say that I think Shenron Speaks is terrible. Was going to be terrible in this game earlier, but I think the way that this played out, it's working out. Okay, they let Maeve stay alive? Like, that's so incredibly dangerous. There's not a backbreaker, but you can play Roland this turn. I think you just do that. Because you're going to play Roland anyway. If you draw something that costs 6 power, and you play Roland first, then you can still play it. Whereas if you go with the Treasure Trove first, that's not necessarily the case. Like, you'd still want to play Roland plus, like, a second Maeve or something. Unless your plan was to harsh rule. And that is fair. I think you can still harsh rule this board. Alright. Shinra speaks, decimate it, so they don't have a random. Oh, I think you decimate there. I mean, yeah, you're still going to need your power for the... Well, it's not as important as it was last turn, getting rid of the Blight Moth. But, like, you do need to kill them. I guess the 7 life isn't worth it, huh? This is good sequencing of the petition and whatnot. You probably just kill the 1/3 here. Just get another body with Roland. You get to attack in with Roland also. Yeah. Petition for another Silex. Yeah. It's not the most insane position. If they've got a Blight Moth and then a removal for Roland, it's like pretty awkward. Silverblade Menace, oof. Not much you can do about Silverblade Menace. That card, I forgot that card also deals with the backbreaker. You're just going to Shenra Speak, so I don't think it's worth playing anything here. Yeah, just attack. Well, you don't want to attack with Roland. No, you just don't want to attack. You just want to play Shenra Speaks. Alright. Then play Broker. What was that? That was the Witching Hour. Yeah, I guess so. You can play the Witching Hour. Like, cost 12. It's probably better than anything else you can have here. And your opponent just has 2 at any cost. Well, that's unfortunate. All right, well, that is it for this video. That is the elimination, right? Yeah. So thanks for watching. This is the Piloting Club from Friends of Eternal. If you want to check out, if you want to have some of your gameplay analyzed by me, put it in the Piloting Club section of the Friends of Eternal Discord. And if you're not already a part of the Discord, but you want to get better at Eternal, it is the best place. There's just tons of people that are going to be talking about Eternal all the time there. Anyway, let me know if you enjoyed this video or not, and I will see you next time, I suppose. Thanks for watching. See you later.